Hey everyone, so this is my review of the pilot episode of Charmed, and essentially what this series is about is that after the sudden death of their mother, Mel and Maggie discover that they have an older sister that they never knew about named Maisie, and all three of them discover that they start exhibiting new abilities that they previously didn't have. And this was a very interesting first episode that did do a very good job of setting up the sort of themes and concepts around this series and stuff. But the only problem for me that I keep trying to work to set aside is that I was so fascinated and interested in the original Charmed series that I have a hard time not comparing this series to that one, even though you really shouldn't, because this definitely seems like it's setting up to be its own thing and sort of having its own plots and stuff that are very different from what the original Charmed series did. But with that, there were some parts that I definitely did like better in the original Charmed series than what they did do in this one. Like the parts with, I believe it was Mel, or whoever the youngest one is, and her powers of having telepathy was interesting, but I definitely don't like it as much as I did in the original series and the youngest one having visions of the future and stuff. That seems like that would become way more helpful than just reading someone's mind. But I'm very interested to see what they're going to do in the series to sort of compensate for that, to make her powers of reading people's mind more helpful to them than just seeing visions of the future. Then I did definitely like the concept around this with Maisie not fully accepting her powers and instead trying to use like logic and science to sort of work around stuff, and that was very interested, and that does make a concept that I'm very excited to see, with them using like science to help with their magic, where like in this one they used I believe it was either salt or sulfur to sort of fight off the demons and stuff, and that was interesting. Instead of just using magic, they used science to help them. Something else that did kind of bug me was the fact that they did a really poor job of trying to hide who the main villains were and stuff. Where like the main demon was pretty obvious who he was, which was this old professor guy that was sort of proven to be a sexual, almost predator. I don't want to exactly say that, but that he was accused of several sexual assault crimes against both teachers and students and stuff. And that he, just from the get-go, was set up to be a very creepy and a very evil man. So of course he'd be like the main demon guy. And then just everyone else around and stuff was so easily set up as being evil. That kind of bugged me, but hopefully that will be fixed in the future and stuff. That was just sort of like a little thing to sort of help introduce everything and stuff like that. That, oh, these guys are villains and stuff like that, to better explain the whole concept of the show and sort of show off their powers and stuff like that. So like I said, I hope that the storylines and stuff, good and bad, are fixed better in the future. But still, that did bug me how easily you could see who the bad guys were. Then everything around Harry was very interesting, with him being this almost like guardian to the three girls, and him sort of working to help them to accept their magic and work with it and stuff like that. But then the ending with them using the Ouija board to possibly be talking to their mother, and the only thing that the mother said was that they shouldn't trust Harry. And that is an interesting thing, that if he's like the lurking villain over this whole season or something, that will be interesting to see how that all plays out. But it also could be a trick, because who knows if they actually were talking to their mother's ghost or not. Then just overall, this was a very interesting and great first episode, and I'm very curious to see what they're going to do in episodes to come, because all the sisters need to sort of bond more and get to know each other and get to working together more to better develop their powers of three and stuff. So I'm very interested to see how they're going to play all that out and how they're going to build this sort of family relationship between the three of them. And also introduce much more of the villains and demons and other supernatural creatures and stuff like that. I'm very excited and interested to see how all that's going to play out. And just, yeah, so that's my review of the pilot episode of Charmed. So, yeah. Bye!